I think we're good. Hi.
Good as in live?
Good as in live. Good and live.
Oh man. Oh no.
So here we are. I just got a notification on my phone. People, bear with us here. This is the very first time that we are streaming the Dark to Light podcast.
Actually, I just got a notification on my phone as well.
You should retweet that.
Yeah, you got it. You got it, Tracy.
We don't have intro music, although I can probably do this. Hold on.
RadioInfluence.com.
It sounds like we're an NFL show. Well, the Cowboys are out and the Giants are. Welcome to Dark to Light.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Dark to Light podcast with...
Rainy Monday Val and
I have the air conditioning on in December beans.
that's not happening here for a couple months. That's not happening here.
So this is like a little different for us. We had a little bit of a snafu. Everybody please comment and see and let me know if you can hear me and see Frank and hear Frank.
Yes, I'll be. I'm gonna share it around over here. So don't think I'm distracted or anything like that. I'm just trying to get it on out there. But welcome everybody. I you know me, Tracy. I prefer walking the live broadcast tightrope. I love it. And now this actually feels like the morning show to me, as it usually does feel like for me with the 10 o'clock recordings, but nobody gets it until 2.
I know. I'm a little. I don't like this. This is out of my comfort zone completely. Good. Get uncomfortable. I'm very uncomfortable right now.
I don't like it. What are we even talking about?
I got things, Frank, and you know, this is like kind of a behind the scenes for people because I've got my trusty phone, which is what I use throughout the entire show to do things. Like we go ghetto and I play clips into the microphone like that so that you can also hear them. This is how we operate on the podcast. So it's a little behind the scenes, but what I have for everybody today is I think we should start the day by going over a thread that I did back in back in May of 2018, because it's started like recycling itself. This John McCain had the dossier thing. And a lot of people were unaware that John McCain had the dossier ever. And then Lindsey Graham let it slip during the hearing, whatever that he had, that he actually got a copy of the dossier before the FBI did from John McCain.
I heard that slip.
Yeah.
I heard that slip. I don't hear much on the weekends, but I heard that.
Yeah, he said that, and I was like, we knew this before, but let's start digging into this a little more. And when this happened, it was when the Senate had released all those transcripts. Do you remember they did they interviewed Veselnitskaya and they interviewed Don Jr. and then they started releasing them all, the Senate Intelligence Committee?
Yes.
This thread was birthed from that. And inside of there, they had something that I had been also looking at separately, which is in Gubarev, which was one of the guys that was mentioned inside the dossier, was suing Christopher Steele, Orbis, and BuzzFeed. He sued them here in the United States and Florida, and he sued them over in the UK. And in the UK, there was a whole bunch of information that was released. And so melding that together with the Senate transcripts, we kind of got a picture, and I found something. Ready?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So somewhere in the middle of this thread, which I retweeted this morning, we learn about the other memo that Steele provided in December of 2016. He wasn't being retained by Fusion GPS anymore, and he needed some way to get this memo that he wrote, that he says somebody just approached him with this intelligence and gave it to him. And then he took it, he put it in another memo that came out in December, and he transported that over through encrypted email 3 times to Glenn Simpson and Kramer, who we mentioned in connection to the U.S.-Ukraine Business Council, the Atlantic Council, William Taylor, the ambassador to the Ukraine that was testifying against Trump. All these things are connected. So he gets this dossier memo and then gives it to Kramer. Kramer gets it in email. Kramer takes it and gives it to McCain. Also, Sir Andrew Wood from the UK gives it to McCain. And Christopher Steele in all this testimony is adamant that this is unconfirmed, it's unsourced, you can't, you have to verify this, blah, blah, blah. But what is in this December memo is super interesting. It talks about the Russians hacking the DNC. So
back to that again.
Yes. So here we go. It says, hold on. That's not the one I want. This happens to me all the time.
It's all right. I'm thinking about this stuff, especially with the Christopher Steele stuff and McCain, how he pops up again.
Yeah.
I just hope that finally we're gonna get a little bit closer to the actual. I saw Bill Binney popping up again over the weekend. Everybody talking about that.
Yep.
So yes, please. I mean, let's just take away more and more layers, because this insistence on the story starting with this hacking of the DNC, it's the last hurdle of really asking some bigger questions.
Yeah.
And
No, totally. And the fact that it's coming out now is huge. So, like, in addition to that, we're seeing, like, I've been talking about Guccifer too, and the DNC and all that stuff for, years. And I was approached after my first Guccifer video years ago by a guy named With Integrity on Twitter, who had started doing his own forensic research into Guccifer 2 and sent me, his website where he was doing all this research. And then I took that, we expanded upon it, we talked about it, I got it out to a wider audience for him, because at the time he didn't have a huge, wide audience. Neither did I, but I had a bigger audience than he did. And then he started working with this guy called the Forensicator, and then Binney got involved, and it turned into this big balloon, which proved, again, that the DNC, the information that traveled from the DNC server onto whatever device could never have been it had to have been done on a LAN or directly into the USB stick or drive or however it was taken. Forensically proven using the metadata inside of the released files, right? This is the DNC. So here we go. The memo said Russian and Romanian hacking was financed by Michael Cohen, who went to Prague to set it up. Now, we know Michael Cohen never went to Prague, so that entire story is BS. The entire thing is fabricated. The entire thing is false. In fact, that was one of the earlier things that we learned about it later on. But the whole Prague thing was one of the earlier things that was flagged by Kathleen Kavalek, right? The consulate in Miami. Oh, no.
I thought that.
Yes.
No, there's two things. Yeah, the consulate in Miami and the Prague thing.
Yeah, and I did a video the other day, Frank, on Saturday, I think it was, explaining again how it is that they could have made the mistake with the Cohen. Because if you remember Jeff from the Markets work at the time, who's now from Epoch Times, Jeff Carlson, did a lot of work into Admiral Mike Rogers and the 702 database being abused by contractors with the FBI, right?
Yes.
So we've got a lot of FBI contractors that are abusing this powerful surveillance machine to surveil everybody and anything they want using keyword searches to do so. And it's very possible that one of these contractors did a search for Michael Cohen and, not having any training on how to use this crap, found a Michael Cohen and said, okay, here's a Michael Cohen. He went to Prague. Michael Cohen went to Prague.
A Michael Cohen,
thinking it was the Michael Cohen. Maybe
probably
they had this...
probably a kindergarten teacher somewhere in Connecticut.
Right. Who just went to Prague for a weekend. so they put this out there. Somehow Steele gets his hands on the fact that Michael Cohen went to Prague. Let's construct a narrative around Prague. We know he was there. Big problem. You dingbats didn't have the right Michael Cohen when you were abusing the 702 database. So what happened to you? You got a memo based on faulty information. I have a kink in my neck.
Well,
don't like it. Anyway,
keep looking straight. Keep your head neutral, Tracy. Keep your head neutral. Keep your chin tucked.
Like that? How do you do it?
I don't know. We should start, if we ever do these. We ever make a semi, frequent habit of doing these live broadcasts. We should both go live with neck braces on.
Yes.
Just to keep everything nice and easy.
Stiff.
A nice loose show.
You know what we should have gotten? We should have gotten you a top hat and a monocle. That's what we should have done.
I have a fedora somewhere, but it doesn't fit me. Lauren got me a fedora. I said, Lauren,
is your head growing just like John Travolta's did?
No, my head is just natural. My head was the same size it was in 5th grade. Okay, and the problem is that it's just when I try different types of hats, it takes a little bit of an adjustment. So we haven't found the right fedora size for me. Everything else has been established for a long time, but there's so few fedora occasions. You can't walk out of the house to go make a bank deposit in a fedora.
Why not?
You look like an edgelord. It looks ridiculous.
An edgelord. So anyway,
yeah.
So we were doing what was it? Oh, DNC. No. We were doing the 702 database and the abuse of the 702 database. So this is how the whole Michael Cohen thing was likely birthed. Now, do we have like documents that say this is how the Michael Cohen thing was birthed? No, but putting pieces together, this is where we come to. So this December memo was based still on this Michael Cohen went to Prague, which I had initially pronounced as Prague on my channel back in the day. So now CrowdStrike writes a piece in December of 2016. The end of December 2016, after the December memo, before the dossier is printed by BuzzFeed, right? Okay? In it, they literally take pieces out of the December memo to explain their hacking story. So, like, they use pieces of the dossier memo in their explanation of how the DNC was hacked. So there looks like there's cooperation here. Surprise, surprise, between CrowdStrike, Steele, Kramer, and whoever wrote the December memo, whoever gave the December memo info, and McCain. Now, why is that important? CrowdStrike is also funded by the Atlantic Council and Viktor Pinchuk, the Ukrainian billionaire or oligarch who is behind a lot of this, or it's rumored to be behind a lot of this impeachment nonsense that's going on.
Yes.
So we're like weaving together this, they're all freaking connected. All of it.
Well, you remember the morning that you and I went through the transcript that was released from the whole Ukraine call, that was pretty pivotal right there, because up until that point, obviously, since the day that the transcript, or actually since the days before the transcript was released, all we heard about was exchanges being made, quid pro quo, bribery, whatever the hell it was, where there was supposed to be an exchange of goods. And it was all about Hunter Biden and election interference in 2020. All of that. I mean, I think that the biggest thing that we got slapped in the face with when we read that transcript was the inquiry directly about CrowdStrike. Mm-hmm. That was a red flag, red light, big alarm moment, because like, whoa. To hell with everything else in the story. And it's actually quite suiting that since then Even more so, the acceleration with impeachment and the hand wringing and jumping around to all the different types of charges and the pomp and circumstance, the dog and pony show that has ensued since then with impeachment has been so front and center, because for all of this to be popping up again, and there's CrowdStrike once again, which, when you talk about the DNC hacking narrative, that was the narrative setter. That was the setting of the narrative. That was it. That was CrowdStrike says, well, this was done by the Russians, and the FBI says good enough for us.
Yeah, and this is what we've been talking about for since we started this show, saying if they cover up who really got to the DNC, we'll never get full disclosure of the truth. It'll just never happen. And not OAN is talking about this now in some way, shape, or form. So it's getting there. And I wonder if it's getting there because they're going to disclose this. I mean, it's all or nothing, in my opinion. While it'll be great to get some of this out and people to be held to account and blah, blah, blah. That's wonderful and everything. But if we don't get to the real truth of the matter here, what's the point? The whole thing was based on Russia hacked the DNC. The whole thing. It's the whole thing.
Yep.
There was, the Trump campaign was conspiring with... I mean, for goodness sakes, Roger Stone's about to go to jail because of this nonsense.
Well, I mean, and I wouldn't call it in the periphery as well, but still, Michael Flynn. You see, Flynn. I mean, everything has spun out from this. Anybody who has gone to jail or has come under legal scrutiny on behalf of affiliations with Donald Trump and this administration over the last few years has been because of this narrative. Investigations that were opened up because of this story. It was and as you were saying before, how amazing it is, how it seems that there's so much coordination between people on the inside of our Congress, people in the media, people, these third-hand guns for hire, like Glenn Simpson. I mean, and then, of course, the international intelligence community. Yeah, there was a lot of coordination. It needed to be concocted. They created a golem, pretty much. It's unbelievable.
How many people, you're absolutely right, just thinking about how stunning and far-reaching this entire thing has been and is. It really is something else. Hey,
I listen, you know me too. I don't really know too much about Paul Manafort, outside of how his name and his life and his dealings have been introduced into the storyline. I don't have any special affection for the guy. And if you committed a crime, you committed a crime. But the fact that this guy is in jail and he might spend the rest of his life in jail, and his health is deteriorating and all this stuff, the time, the weeks, the months that he spent in solitary confinement, like he was Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, I know.
Hannibal Lecter. And you're talking about financial dealings that everybody on K Street is doing today. You throw a stone down in Washington, D.C., you're going to find 3 people. You're going to hit 3 people that is doing today what Paul Manafort did.
It's gross, especially the Flynn piece of this, which we never really covered in depth on the podcast, which is, it's despicable. You know who I'm interested to talk to too about this? We'll just so everybody out there knows, I mentioned this the other day, on January 6th, which is next Monday, we will have Lee Smith joining us for the podcast. It won't be live here like this, obviously. It'll be on all the podcasting platforms. But they did a lot of work into General Flynn and stuff. And I'm really interested to pick his brain on a couple different things. That's going to be a really good show, Frank. Did you finish the book yet?
I have Lee Smith's book right here. Hold on.
Hold it up for everybody.
Hold on. This is my power orb first.
It's like that picture of Trump with all the people from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, this is all the stuff that's on my immediate to-do list. First of all, I just got this last night. This is a great one. This book is from, I think, I don't know. This is from 1924. Yeah. It's called The Common Sense of the Constitution by Allen and Bacon. It's fantastic. It's a short book. You can go through every clause of the Constitution and actually explain what it is. I got my Farmer's Almanac 2020. There's so much. Tracy, have you ever opened up a Farmer's Almanac?
I sure have.
I can't believe how much amazing history and fun stuff is in this. I thought it
Yep.
was just planting instructions. So I got that. And then, of course, I got my intellectual devotional. This is the daily lessons over here. And then, of course, boom,
Yes.
here it is. And I'm moving along. I'm over a third of the way through.
Okay, good. Good.
Yeah.
Because it's a great book.
Yeah. No, it is. It is.
It is.
Okay. Well, that's enough for me.
So anyway, that's I'll probably do an in-depth little follow-up video after this podcast is complete, going over that story in ridiculously intricate detail, so everyone can stick around after for that. But I have a whole bunch of other stuff. Something horrible happened the other day. I don't know if you caught it.
What?
Dr. Epstein.
Oh, yeah. First of all, this is a this is a nightmare scenario for millions, countless millions of people losing a husband or a wife, especially that. Oh no, it's awful. When I heard about that, I was my heart just sank, and I immediately called Lauren to see where she was. Number one, I can't stand it. This is why I don't let anybody out of the house. You know, where are you going? Where do you need to go? Who's driving you? Let me drive you. Let me drive you instead.
My when my husband goes up to New York without me, I'm flipping out the entire way.
No, that just broke my heart. It really did.
So,
I'll tell you. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I just wanted to say, because we never said what happened.
No, go ahead.
Dr. Epstein's wife, Dr. Robert Epstein, I'm sorry, who was the Google. He was the guy who said that Google was controlling the elections. He was a Clinton supporter that came out and said they're manipulating millions of votes, testified in front of Congress to that fact as well. His wife was killed in a car accident, and there was a thread here on Twitter where people were asking some questions. He linked an article talking about, you know, where she was. The article kind of goes into where in San Diego she was, and somebody asks a question about there being a guardrail between the two sections of highway. So how is it possible that she crossed the guide rail? No answers. But flipped perhaps. This was all ice. What was it? Ice
attributed to?
I don't know. It couldn't have been ice in San Diego.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just that really just bummed me out, and I felt so horrible. The only thing I did not like, because everybody's mind goes to the same place. First, it's shock, grief. You feel for somebody. You know, there's a lot of people out there probably stopped and said a prayer for them and the family, and there's nothing you can really do outside of just being, you know, feeling somewhat devastated for him as well. But last thing I was going to that thread of him announcing the death of his wife, just full of people with the hashtag Clinton body count stuff and the comments like, can you save this for some other time? I know where all of our minds are going to, but I mean, just say sorry. You know.
No, I agree. It's not the time to do that.
No. But I you don't have to. I know exactly what everybody was thinking.
Because it just so happens, like, you know, again, like the same thing we were talking about with Spacey the other day. Four of them, four accusers, four. It's not like one, it's not two, it's four. All four of the people that accused Kevin Spacey of sexual misconduct are dead now.
Well, three of four. One just dropped the charges. I think one just dropped the charges and went away.
Oh.
I think three are dead, and one just said, wash their hands of it with Spacey. But still, I mean,
three.
It's just, yeah, no, I understand the optics of all this stuff. It starts at some point. It starts becoming Occam's razor. You're like, well, what the hell is it? What the hell? This is like an M. Night Shyamalan film.
I know. I know. And you know what? There gets to a point where, you know, I'm sick and tired of people being afraid to talk about this shit because, to be honest, It's weird. I don't care who you are. You could be anybody. If you found out that person X was accused by 3 people of doing something horrible sexually, and then all 3 of those people mysteriously died under different circumstances, I think that there's a little more than a coincidence there. Just saying. And the fact that they do it and they're just like, oh, who cares what people say? People are gonna, and then we're all just conspiracy theorists, Frank. Where's my tinfoil hat? I left it downstairs. Damn it. Damn it to hell. Sorry. So we had problems with Twitter over the weekend. Did you see?
Yes, I did. I saw multiple. It was one of your threads, wasn't it, Shem? I mean, just from what I know that this is happening to a lot of people, but a lot of things over the last 48 hours, I expected to start happening in mid-January, maybe, and just like, hey, hello, welcome to 2020. But no, it's starting now. From the not only the violence that we're seeing, this rash of violence, and I have so much to talk about on my show tonight. I don't even know how to get through the conversation I have to have on the show tonight.
The violence is it's interesting because they're all coming from the same group for the most part, a couple of them anyway, that attacked the Covington kids.
There's a lot of things that don't make sense to me. A lot of things. But as far as the Twitter thing, we're seeing information suppression go into high gear.
Yep.
And 2020, that's going to be the name of the game in 2020. It's going to be chaos and information suppression. There's no ideas to be sold. There's no ideas to be debated. There's nothing. There's no common ground. There's no finding any overlap or common interest or anything like that. Principles that we can agree on. We know that that's gone. So all there really is there are people who have their stake in Silicon Valley. We know the corporate cultures out there. We know how many people use these platforms to communicate with each other and send information. And for the most part, I think that momentum and the momentum in this snowball is traveling downhill at its own pace right now. But what this is really all about is keeping people that are still living within their bubble, within their sandbox, away from anything that could be contradictory. That's the only thing here.
Some of them are in the chat right now, so we're talking right to them, Frank.
Hello.
I'm glad you're spending your time with us this morning. Maybe you'll actually learn something.
Yeah, I'm seeing some people, and actually, I popped it out here. I popped it out here. I got the chat popped out. Now I see everybody. Bill Grant and Sure and Jennifer Small. Look at all these people.
I know there's a lot of people. I feel like I'm not seeing everyone though, because the chats are moving by so quickly. I'm seeing a mix of my YouTube and my Twitter chatters here.
Okay, I'm watching YouTube. I'll handle YouTube. You watch Twitter.
All right, I'll have to pull up my Periscope then and mute it. I don't know. We'll see.
Just in case.
Sorry, guys. I'll try and take the Twitter people laughing. Soapbox77 says, hey. Talk about Byron York's thread. I don't know about Byron York's thread. Let's see what that says. I have a couple things on here, but we're having fun today, right, Frank?
I always have a fun time doing this show. And today I had more impetus to put some makeup on, and I
You have makeup on? You look beautiful.
Yeah, of course, I put on the foundation, all that stuff. In fact, I told Lauren, because I had no time. I go to bed so late that I usually set my alarm for 7:30. Lauren already leaves the house she's already at work at 7:30 some mornings. I said, Lauren, while I'm sleeping, can you just put makeup on me? So I slept on my back last night, and she did my makeup for this show before she left the house.
Your eyelashes are looking quite lovely,
and they're all natural too. Thank you.
I don't change my eyelashes either. A lot of girls do. It's okay. I don't see a thread on Byron York's timeline, so I guess we'll skip that. Okay. The next thing that I wanted to talk about kind of bleeds into what you were just talking about in terms of the violence that we're seeing everywhere. And of course we did that show the other day called We're Mad as Hell, where we kind of went off on where things are going or where they're attempting to take them. But somebody on Twitter did a thread about how they are now get there. I think what the attempt is to get, as per this thread, black Trump supporters or white Trump supporters to dislike black Trump supporters because of the way that it's black on white crime for the most part it's been. And there's also a lot of anti-Semitism in here, and which brings us to this whole de Blasio crap from the other day. Did you hear this?
Yeah. No. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a lot of my thoughts have to come out on this show. I don't know, but I have so many things I took note of with de Blasio trying to pin this on Donald Trump. I don't know. This is the most confusing thing to me, Tracy. Most confusing thing. You know what? Start with whatever you wanted to, and I'll jump in wherever the hell I have to.
I'm just gonna play the clip of de Blasio.
Go ahead.
Washington and it's
This is how we do it, folks. This is how we do it.
An atmosphere of hate has been developing in this country over the last few years. A lot of it is emanating from Washington, and it's having an effect on all of us.
Wait, so you're saying you're blaming the president by saying
Not
it's
just the
from
president.
Washington?
I'm saying, but we have to be clear. We need a different tone starting in Washington, which we had, by the way, with Democrats and Republicans both in the White House, that encouraged this country to actually find some unity and some common ground. We haven't had that.
We haven't had, let's find some unity as I'm divisive. I don't understand. Let's find some unity while I'm being the most divisive SOB on the face of the earth. What?
You know, the president is killing people. The president is getting Jews killed. Can we just find some common ground here? You know, can we stop being so divisive here? The president is killing Jews.
Meanwhile, they're letting people out of prison or jail as they commit crimes with no bail. And then they're committing more crimes and they're bringing them back to jail.
I'm telling you, you know what's going to happen? We're talking about this, and at first we were joking because we didn't actually see how it was going to play out in real life, where de Blasio and this no bail release in New York, which is going to give me less and less reason to go down there for dinner, is that they were trying to get people to come to their court dates by giving them tickets to Mets games and stuff like that. With what's been going on in the last couple of weeks alone, I mean, there's going to be a couple of season ticket holders out there. There's going to be quite a few season ticket holders out there.
Not like many people go to Mets games anymore anyway.
Exactly. Well, they have good bacon there. They sell bacon on a stick. It's really good. So I would say if you're in New York and you want to see a baseball game, and I mean, Citi Field's got great food.
Citi Field is fantastic.
I love it. I do like it. I like it better than Yankee Stadium. I do.
Yeah, But anyway, nobody's going to want to take their family to a Met game anymore. Who wants to bring their
the
family?
bleachers is going to be all criminals.
I mean, forget the bleacher creatures or the 7 line or whatever they're called. It's going to be a bunch of freaking pickpockets and rapists and murderers out there. What's the limit on crime? Where does it stop?
I don't know, because I was going through that list. There's a 4-page list of crimes that are going to be no bail at this point. And as we had talked about the last time we were on, I think one of those crimes even go down to not only assaulting children, but there's a special designation for assaulting children and being a child care provider.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So if you're even if you're a nanny or if you're a preschool teacher and you assault a child in your care, no bail, and you get Mets bleachers tickets.
I just don't know how you can stay there. I really don't know how you can stay there.
I'm not in the boroughs, so I don't feel it as much just yet. But I mean, if I don't know,
right outside the boroughs.
I know. I can smell it from here.
Look, I was on Long Island when I lived in New York, and I could smell it from there too. And it's getting worse out there also. You know, this whole driver's license thing is asinine. They just arrested 93 MS-13 members in Huntington. 93
precious angels.
Yeah, 93 people that really needed driver's licenses so that they could make sure that they were driving correctly. You know, it's safer for everyone that way, Frank.
Yeah, but you know, the anti-Semitism thing is very, very confusing to me, and it's for a number of reasons. It's a number of reasons, and I don't know where to even start with it all. I don't know if you were even meaning to go and touch on that today.
I don't know how much time. Well, no, I wasn't, but it's okay. It's not like we can. I have some things to do at the end of
Go for it. I'll save my thoughts for tonight. No,
because you're like bursting at the seams. I can tell you want to get it out.
It's too much. It's 10:50. It's just too much. I don't know. There's a lot that I understand. And what you were saying there before, you said, I don't, some people have suggested that perhaps there's an effort to turn black and white against each other within Trump supporting circles or whatever the hell else, because of this most of the latest shooters have been black, or those black Israelites, or whatever the hell they're called. But none of it makes sense to me. It's not having that effect on me.
Me neither.
It's confusing. Work. It's confusing the hell out of me. And especially because, lately it's just like we know that the big ticket item since 2012 for the last 6 years or so has been racism. But in the last few weeks, anti-Semitism has taken over everything.
You're right. What? No, it's crazy because they try to blame it on President Trump. His whole family is Jewish.
I just don't understand where it's coming from, though, Tracy. I'm asking, where did it come from and why? Why are more and more people why is it that more and more people are just deciding to go look for Jewish people to stab? As of last year, I thought illegal immigrants as of last year were the new Jews, and the concentration camps at the border and all that stuff. And now it's just, no, it's actually just anti-Semitism again. And then those two things, the stabbings and everything else, I had a couple of New York Post and CBS articles over here that show how these attacks in New York City especially are going up and up and up. And what I really wanted to ask about is, can we know even just a little bit more about the attackers? We don't know anything. I know that most of these recent attackers are black, but are they Muslim? I don't know who they are. Nobody does really. We just know anti-Semitism is on the rise. And I have never known anti-Semitism to be a black American thing. Never.
No,
ever.
It's weird. There's that one group, like I said, I forget the name of them, like the Black Hebrew Israelites or something like that attacked the Covington kids in DC.
But you see, the thing here is that there must be a common theme in all this stuff. This to any rash of pointed violence toward a specific group, there needs to be a conspiracy at play, an ideology. There's something there. A Jewish person is only identifiable by their religious ideology, and to go and target somebody has to be ideologically driven in that respect. So I mean, and to say there, I know all the Jewish stereotypes very well. I live in Westchester, New York. But whether it be stereotyping somebody or arguing and haggling over the price of a halibut in a deli, or playground teasing or whatever the hell it is, there's a huge difference between all of that stuff and deciding to terrorize a neighborhood or stab people in a synagogue with a machete. There is a huge leap between the two. And where this is all coming from, I just have no clue. Because I'll tell you something else, Tracy. The people who are trying to fight against it, the people who are demanding the president do something about it, who, even though he just signed that, what I believe to be an awful executive order a couple of weeks ago.
I was just going to mention that about, and they complained about it. They complained about it, even though this is like everything they supposedly ever wanted. They complained about this executive order, saying it would make things worse or like ruin free speech or something.
Well, the confusion doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. It's almost, when I start thinking about this, it's almost like being pounded into the shoreline by wave after wave in Myrtle Beach or something like that. After a while, you don't know which side is up. First of all, let's just put it on all out there. Adam Schiff, Jerry Nadler, Elliot Engel, Nita Lowey. These are the people who are running the impeachment sham in the House. All Jews. Okay. Daniel Sachs Goldman is the attorney for the Democrats in the House, especially directing the investigations for the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. So you have another Jewish guy there. All the witnesses.
You can't forget what's going on with Netanyahu over in Israel right now either.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. If you look at what is driving the people who are driving impeachment and all this stuff with Donald Trump, they're all Jewish Americans. All the witnesses in impeachment: Vindman, Yovanovitch, Sonberg, all Jewish. Steve Cohen, Brad Sherman, who are the ones that were putting forward the first impeachment articles in 2017 by way of the Russia stuff. I mean, it's all Jew, and at the same time, on the president's side, his family is Jewish, completely integrated now. His council is Jewish. So it's
interesting too, because there's been a push lately, like there was this Jexit movement founded, right? Where Jewish people are leaving the Democrat Party because Jewish people as a whole are much more left-leaning than right-leaning. And everybody started saying, well, why? It doesn't make any sense. So they formed Jexit, and it really did do well. I mean, it's still going. Jewish people exiting the Democrat Party, Jexit. And it's been a thing for months now. It's all interesting outside of my scope of what I focus on typically, because I don't get into that Jew stuff. I just don't do it. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's so toxic. That's why I'm saying I didn't know how the hell I was even going to talk about it, because I'm looking at Jewish people that are managing both sides of impeachment, anything else. I mean, first of all, like I said, this guy, we were talking about de Blasio before with the blaming this on the president and divisiveness. Well, then who is the president inciting? Because a lot of the people who voted for the president, they're one of the greatest concerns that they have for him is that he's too conciliatory and subservient to Israel. So whereas he goes above and beyond for Jews and the state of Israel, on the other side, you have I saw the Washington Post talking about how Democrats now in the House are saying that the president is not doing enough to fight anti-Semitism. And I'm saying to myself, aren't these the people who just a couple of months ago in 2019 were having a little bit of an internal struggle in their own caucus because they could not come out and just denounce anti-Semitism because the PLO faction of their party just wanted it to be a blanket statement against all hate. So they've had so many problems with their. I'm asking myself, who's inciting this? Who's actually committing the violence? Who's getting blamed for it? Is the president too pro Israel and too pro Jewish, or not Jewish enough? If so, why is this such a strong faction of Jewish Americans trying to get him out of office?
Yeah.
Who's denying what? I'm so confused.
I know. It is weird. Unless, Frank, and this is a possibility, which you didn't mention, unless this is not controlled by any of those people, and it is the Black Hebrew Israelites taking it upon themselves to just kill Jewish people.
It could.
That makes the most sense at this point. Who's calling?
Absolutely. But fantastic timing for all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a couple of days away from the first of a new year that we knew was going to be chock full of God knows what, because there are no. I mean, people were talking about President Bernie Sanders with Vice President Cortez. Are you kidding me? I mean, there is nothing to be sold anymore. So this is going to be a year full of information suppression and as much drummed up chaos as possible. And I mean, here we are, the last couple of days of December, and it's already started.
Yeah, no, thinking of that stuff too. The next topic that I had on the list to talk about before we go through some like more lighthearted stuff is what's happening in Virginia right now. I've been following this pretty closely, and I've just been kind of watching from the sidelines. There's a petition now to remove Northam from office. There's not only there are police officers joining the grassroots militia now. So like it's getting heated and serious. Like there's about to be some issues in Virginia. Hold on. I had a point here that I wanted to make. So that you have the DA there, and again, the article that Daniel Babinski wrote for Uncover DC that goes over the 4 DAs that were paid for by Soros in Virginia.
Yeah.
You've got all of them and the attorney general there and the governor there saying none of what you guys are saying are, has no bearing on the law. It's illegal. It's not recognized in terms of the sanctuary gun places for people in Virginia. There are a ton of illegal gun owners in Virginia that are not having any of this, and it will be a standoff if they try to come and take their guns. Talking about lawlessness, it's rich to me that the governor of Virginia is saying this when he is breaking the law just by this decree.
Yes, but this is his penance for the blackface. You see, this is what I don't get. Remember, this guy. Think about the people who are allowed to survive their scandals. Think about what we are saddled with, all the talk about race and sexuality and religion and all that stuff. This is the governor who was allowed to survive a blackface scandal because he went out there and he stood by endless butchering of children and limitless butchering of children. And now standing by, I mean, this is an enormous, it could be an enormous watershed moment in this country
for gun rights. I mean, they're comparing it to a second American Revolution in Virginia. Why Virginia of all states to pick? You'd think they do it in California or New York.
Think about it, though. You have all these you have death in synagogues. You have death in churches. You have all of this going on. The gun stuff is coming back around. All these people and their issues, because there's only like 3 or 4. That's all cyclical. And when we were leading up to the 2018 midterm elections, what were we covering? We were covering the leftist funded caravans at the border, and we were saying, hold your breath because they want bloodshed at the border. I mean, that is something they could, because they have no actual ideas, they can drive people to the polls, or at least try to, if there's some kind of something they can spin as there is now bloodshed at the border. This is a symptom of this and that. It's the same thing in Virginia. They are pretty much stocking up and getting themselves ready for some kind of a standoff between what is supposed to be a free citizenry and a tyrannical government. And I you know me, I do not think that they are afraid to crack a few eggs to make a shitty omelet.
I don't think that the people are afraid to fight back. And I don't think, again, that, they're saying the National Guard is going to come in, and the National Guard saying, we're not doing that. Like, these people think they can, just because they possess the power given to them by their constituents, that they can rule by decree and remove people's constitutional rights. Like, when does the federal government step in there? Do they at all? We've had this conversation before about how the Second Amendment is in the Constitution of the United States of America, and even a state constitution. Can a state constitution remove the Second Amendment?
Yeah.
And it's fine.
Yeah. Well, the state constitution does not nullify the second. Well, the Bill of Rights for the general government it restrains members of the House of Representatives and Senate from making any federal law that applies to all states of the union about guns.
So if you're a state in a union, your state legislature can spit in the face of the Bill of Rights?
Yes, as long as you take. The other thing here too is, what does your state constitution say? Most state constitutions have their own versions of the Second Amendment. I would actually say that most states that are passing any number of these 20,000 gun laws that are in effect from coast to coast, most of those laws are probably in direct violation of state constitutional rights. But the 10th Amendment says the state can do whatever they want. They can revise their own constitutions however the hell they want within their legislatures and all that. But the Bill of Rights for the federal government is about restricting what everybody in DC does as blanket decrees for all members of the union. But you would think that it would be harder to get this stuff passed on a local level, but I don't know.
I'm looking here in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Militia, standing armies, that a well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people trained to arms is the proper, natural, and safe defense of a free state. Therefore, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That standing armies in time of peace should be avoided as dangerous to liberty, and that in all cases the military should be under strict subordination to and governed by the civil power. So in the Constitution of Virginia, they have a line in Article 1, Section 13, that specifically states the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Yeah, well, Virginia was the home state of the Bill of Rights.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why Virginia? I guess it's symbolic. I would think that, I don't understand how Virginia went so poorly in the recent election. Like, how did you guys let your state go like that? I don't understand.
Well, you want to talk about that sucking sound that comes from the swamp to the north. You have so many people that are settling in those metropolitan areas near Maryland, where DC is, and it just goes to show how you can change the entire complexion of a state by overwhelming or overwhelming a city or whatever the hell it is. I mean, most of Virginia is red, but these cities are like cancer. They really are. They only breed a certain, but as you read right there, if that's what's going on in the state constitution of Virginia, I mean, it is unconstitutional.
Yeah, like they need to get in there and make an amendment to remove that if they want to change it. Or they just don't give a shit. Which is likely.
Yeah.
All right, so look, this is what I wanted to do to end the show today, because this is the last show of 2019.
Crazy. It is.
That's crazy.
Not only that, this is a pretty big day.
Look. I have my sweatshirt on.
Wait, hold on. I'm not even looking. Coffee, then podcast. Ah.
Yes.
Yeah, we never really do webcam at all.
No.
We actually just only hear each other.
Yeah. You do webcam. I see the door.
Every once in a while, yeah. And then, because you know what I do? I flip the webcam over and I turn it so that if there is any NSA snooping going on, all they see is a wall.
They're snooping.
They would still hear things, though. That's the only bad thing.
Okay. Here's the thing. I just got that at the end. Sharyl Attkisson on her website has like the biggest media screw-ups. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she has a whole list of them for like years now. I wanted to go through some of the ones from 2019 with everybody. What do you say?
Sure.
And by the way, I'm sitting cross-legged on my chair.
Good for you. I don't know how people do those things. My hips are too tight.
I've had a few children. I have. I should get them up here. I should get the kitties up here to show their faces on the screen. Okay. We have a couple here. January 18th, 2019. There was a BuzzFeed exclusive with anonymous sources that implicated Trump in potentially criminal behavior that Democrats and pundits said would be the final nail in Trump's coffin, in the impeachment coffin. It's refuted by the special counsel. The special counsel says BuzzFeed's description of specific statements to the special counsel's office and characterization of documents and testimony obtained by the office regarding Michael Cohen's congressional testimony are not accurate. You remember the whole Cohen thing where they tried, and then all of a sudden they carted him in and had him lie in front of Congress? Remember?
Yeah, that was pathetic. He was just such a doofy guy. What a doofus Michael Cohen is, and he still went to jail. Just just
he pled guilty to something that's not even a crime.
Yeah, doofy.
Very doofy. Then there was that debacle where they criticized Melania Trump in the Telegraph, and they said something really horrible about her, and they had to come out and apologize for it.
I forget what they said.
Following last Saturday's cover, The Mystery of Melania, we've been asked to make clear that the article contained a number of false statements, which we accept should not have been published. Mrs. Trump's father was not a fearsome presence and did not control the family. Mrs. Trump did not leave her design and architecture course at university relating to the completion of exam as alleged in the article, but because she wanted to pursue a successful career as a model. She was not struggling in her modeling career before she met Trump, and she did not advance in her career due to the assistance of Mr. Trump. It was a whole big hit piece on Melania. She threatened to sue, and she is suing. She is suing.
Good for her.
Yeah.
I'm going to sue somebody too in 2020. As soon as I get enough money to have a lawyer on retainer, I'm going to sue everybody.
Don't sue me.
Oh, I'm suing you. I'm suing everybody.
I can't wait for discovery.
Go ahead.
I'm going to discover things. Jussie Smollett.
Oh, that guy.
Jussie Smollett and the racist
Oh, first of all, you know, I said it before when we were talking about Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Not to defend Kevin Spacey or you know or sit in there and rationalize anything, but comparing the two of them, comparing these two guys,
Jussie Smollett.
Smollett actually, I mean, that was an act of war against the nation.
I know, and the worst, like, I love how Dave Chappelle did it in his thing. He said black people weren't even saying anything because they all knew that it was a lie.
My God.
Like, in the middle of the winter, in like a cold snap, colder than you'd ever seen before, two white men scream out in the middle of Chicago, "This is MAGA country." And they ate it up. Remember Kamala Harris? She jumped out on that. She ate it up.
Yeah.
And then she was tied into the whole thing. We did reporting on that. She was tied into the whole thing. We had Michelle Obama's former chief of staff involved.
Well, Cory Booker too. Didn't he have a little bit of a piece of that pie cut out for him? Because that was at the time that they were all talking about that Senate bill, the anti-lynching bill.
Yes, they had just been through that, the anti-lynching bill.
Yeah.
Jussie Smollett crying on television. Other fake news attacks reported as if confirmed, but weren't. Oh, that's from longer ago. We don't have to go through those. I thought it was. Oh, then they reported that Trump was about to fire Kirstjen Nielsen in February. Yeah. She never got fired. Oh, and then obviously there was the Covington kids. There was
Tracy. What's going on in 2020 as far as justice goes? I've had enough. I've had enough. I mean, I read things. I see, bombshell. Oh, we got another one. I understand. It all comes back around to this. I am sick and tired, though. I want an assassin president now. I want Trump to slip out of gotcha mode, Twitter storm mode, and I want him to slip into assassin mode. When? What is it? I mean, it's too much for me now. It's gotta, I don't know. There's gotta be some kind of a payoff, and very soon.
He gave a general timeline for Durham, and we still
I heard it was spring.
Yeah. We still have Huber in the background, who in May of this year, Barr said was about to wrap up and bring to fruition work on Clinton, which I think is the Clinton Foundation, that he's still going. So I don't know when. All I know is that the thread that I wrote that our source gave us information on weeks and weeks and weeks ago in early September, everything so far has come to fruition in that thread. So if that's the case, the rest of the stuff will too.
It's time to soldier. It's time to soldier through this. But
there's going to, a lot of people are like, are we going to get justice? I don't see how we don't at this point with the way Barr's been talking. Doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. The way Barr's been out there talking doesn't make sense to me that we don't get prosecutions. Just doesn't jive at all. We know they're digging into Brennan more now. again, there's that discrepancy about when this started with Durham. I argue it started in 2018, way before October, because they were investigating the leaks to Baker. But U.S. attorneys don't just Baker's leaks. U.S. attorneys don't just stop if they find another crime. So there's no way he was investigating how David Corn of Mother Jones got the Steele dossier without finding anything else. There's just no way. I'm sorry. So that's the case. That means before October of 2018, which is more than a year ago, which means we're way further into this than we were told, which is exactly the way it's supposed to be. There's no way that they're announcing all this stuff now if they're not far enough along that it doesn't matter anymore. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess what you're saying. I guess the other thing here, too, is I would suggest a lot of people follow the Convention of States movement. Those are other little things that everybody can just follow along and understand a little bit more. If there is any real way that we can try to make some changes by circumventing this awful Congress, it's Convention of States. So, which we should talk about some other time. You know, when we had what's his name on?
Ned Ryan.
Ned Ryan. When we were talking about Ned Ryan was on, we talked a little bit about the 17th Amendment. Yeah. And what the 17th Amendment did to a lot of things here. And that's a whole part of the, I guess, it ties into why Convention of States and Article 5 and all that stuff is really important, and what the 17th Amendment did in taking away a little bit more of a Republican form of getting our getting our representation in the Senate in place. You think about, first of all, I don't know. I would have to do the math at this point. But
a lot of people don't even understand that.
The 17th Amendment?
Yeah, like in general, Frank. God. Like, people need to start, like, okay, so this book is fantastic. Frank hasn't had a chance to read it yet because I keep piling books on him. But this is a fantastic book. It's by Ned Ryan. It's called Restoring Our Republic. It goes through, like, all of the history and how things were formed and how the founders did what they did. It's a great refresher for anybody who maybe just forgot this stuff or never even learned it. And solutions.
Oh, yes.
So it's a really
civic
good
involvement.
Book. Yeah, it's a really good book.
That's the biggest thing there, too. Civic involvement. Because there's always going to be people out there that have different opinions on, is something going to happen? Is justice going to be served? How much justice is going to be served? Is there a chance? Are we, or is it a lock? Whatever the hell it is, everybody has different opinions. Everybody has varying levels of confidence. And of course, there are some people who just love being the, hey, nothing's ever going to happen, right? You should just, hey, everybody here knows that we're all doomed, right? Okay. Bye. Oh, you guys are still playing along that game? Oh, okay. Yeah, I hate those people that show up and just like, okay, well, just get the hell away from me. But other than that, no matter where our opinions might vary on that scenario, the one thing that should never stop is civic involvement. Because that is a war that has to be won little by little. People having children again, that'd be great. Let's start having big families. Yeah. Best we can. Communities that are tight. You know that 3 out of 4 people don't know their neighbors now. I saw that one study about it. 3 out of 4 people don't know their neighbors or don't have any kind of relationship with them.
I know some of my neighbors, but some of them I'm just happy to be away from. I don't
see.
They're horrible people.
See? How the hell are we ever going to get anything done? Go over there and bring them a bag of sugar. Something. Do you need any half and half?
They're horrible. I don't want anything to do with them.
Some people you can't get around. But civic involvement is the big thing. If that's not happening, there's never going to be a change. Because all this stuff is not going to be fixed on a federal level. Federal government is the problem. The only reason why we have the problems we have now is the federal government got this big. The answer is not getting people we like inside of this. It's about burning almost 80% of it to the ground.
Yeah, removing. Yeah.
So
we'll talk about doing a show, like maybe a spin-off or like an extra episode on all that.
Sure.
Because it'd be fun. Okay, so this is the end, Frank. And what we're going to do real quick now, because I think we've been going for more than an hour, to be honest. What we're going to do now is I'm putting you on the spot. Give a message. Sum up the year. Talk about something important to you, whatever, to the people as the very last thing you say to them on the show in 2019.
2019. Oh, well, we got to the end of it. We got to the end of it. You think about all of the ups and downs, and the days where it was one of those scream-worthy shows. There was so much there throughout all the holidays. All I say is keep your wits about you. Keep your wits about you, and also remember, I love saying this, Twitter is not real life. The things that the images that you are seeing on the computer, on your television, is not real life. Real life is that quiet time in between the headlines that takes place on your back porch or your front stoop or in a long drive to wherever the hell you're going. That's real life. You have to really stay honed in on that, because if you think that you're fighting some good fight with your hashtags and all that other crap, and you're just constantly checking that stuff over and over again, then you're probably missing out on all the other things that need the most precious amounts of attention. There's so much that goes on right underneath our noses that honestly, as we always talk about, we're being distracted from. There's so many evasive, I don't know. There's so much out there. Just remember that the television and the computer is not real life. It's not real. It's not.
Amen. That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's been
a lot less pressure.
Yeah. It's been an entire year of 3. I think we started. When did we start doing 3 times a week?
It was earlier this year.
So this is my favorite thing to do. Honestly, this podcast is my favorite thing to do. I look forward to it every day. I can't believe, I'm just like one of those people that gets overwhelmed with like emotion sometimes. I just want to tell everyone out there, thank you so much for sticking around with us for the year, and for, if you're new to the show, for finding the show and for loving it. And, it's been a hard year, but a fun year at the same time. And the best is yet to come, in my opinion. I think we're really getting somewhere. More people are awake and aware than ever before. And I'm blessed that I get to sit here and talk to you guys with Frank 3 times a week the way we do, and that you all showed up for this. This is pretty cool. I'm a little excited about it, to be honest. And we'll have it again on Friday. I love you guys, though. Honestly, I feel like I know you guys. I feel like I'm friends with you. I feel like you're my family. It's been fantastic to grow with you, and I'm looking forward to 2020, Frank. We got a lot of cool stuff coming in 2020. Some of it you don't even know about yet.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't even know about it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about anything anyway. What the hell do I know? I get every day is just a big surprise. So the best is yet to come the day, man.
What was that?
The best is yet to come.
Oh, okay. So here we go with the closing that you never get to see. You've been listening to the Dark to Light podcast with
Rainy Monday Val and
Air Conditioning is on in December Beans.
Weird.
You can hear us usually every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. What is the other one? Did I forget one? And radioinfluence.com. But there won't be a show on Wednesday. There will be a show on Friday, just like this, at 10 o'clock in the morning, live on these platforms. So have a great week. Have a great New Year's. Have fun.
Yes.
Stay safe.
You too. And send my best to the fam.
I will. And I love you guys. And we'll see you soon.